Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. The unified heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua has confirmed his next fight date will be on June 20th. So see here on screen, this is a post to social media. Anthony Joshua simply putting June 20th and the calendar, holding his titles that he regained from Andy Ruiz Jr. just a few months ago. And his opponent is going to be Kubrat Pulev. Pulev has confirmed that himself. Also see here on screen a post shaking Anthony Joshua's hand. This was from the original fight they were scheduled to have in 2017, but Pulev pulled out of that one injured. But to the translated message that he is saying, because giving more detail than Anthony Joshua, he says, official. Kubrat Pulev confronts Anthony Joshua. The date is June 20th. The new stadium of Tottenham in London, the World Heavyweight Championship. The treaty between the two countries has already been officially signed, and the battle between the Bulgarian boxer, who is the mandatory contender for the belt of the International Boxing Federation, IBF, and the Brit is guaranteed. So he says, I am happy that I will have the opportunity to show the world how strong I actually am, commented Kubrat Pulev. So in light of Anthony Joshua's post and then Kubrat Pulev following up shortly thereafter on social media, expect an official announcement in short order, announcing all the particulars of the fight, which is destined for the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And it looked like for a moment there was going to be a potential purse bid, but all the issues apparently have been resolved. And another story here, brief from Dan Raphael, says, as expected, the camps for unified heavyweight titleist Anthony Joshua and mandatory challenger Kubrat Pulev have finally reached agreement on all points for the fight to take place June 20 at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London, a source with knowledge of the deal told ESPN Sunday night. With the deal made, Joshua's promoter Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing and Pulev's co-promoters Top Rank and Epic Sports have written to the IBF president Daryl Peoples asking him to cancel Tuesday's scheduled purse bid. So all but official now, just waiting for confirmation, the press release and a press conference in due course, June the 20th. So the best part of 3 months and change away, we have a fight, IBF mandatory challenger taking on Anthony Joshua. And it'll be interesting to see the response to this fight by fans, just in general, because obviously a lot of people wanted to see Anthony Joshua in other fights. But he does have to take care of his mandatory obligations. Remember, he had to. Kubrat Pulev in the IBF and also in the WBO, Alexander Usyk. So with this fight all but announced now, the dominoes will start falling elsewhere. We'll have the official confirmation of Derek Chisora and Alexander Usyk in May at some point. That's been well signalled, as has Dillian Whyte and Alexander Povetkin. They'll start to get their schedule arranged. These will all be pay-per-view events, and it's going to be a few months of fans putting their hands in their wallets. And remembering, there's also going to be a Joe Joyce and Daniel Dubois fight. So some decent heavyweight fights on the horizon, but we'll have to pay for them. But obviously, as boxing fans, that kind of is what it is, and it's par for the course these days. But of this matchup, Anthony Joshua versus Kubrat Pulev, from what I can tell, the general flavour out there, because this has been well signalled, is that people think that Kubrat Pulev is going to either lie down in the first couple of rounds, or Anthony Joshua is just going to walk through him and it's going to be all over lickety-split. And I think a lot of people, after the more defensive and back foot effort against Ruiz Jr., are expecting Anthony Joshua to rebound in this fight with a more aggressive style, looking for a knockout. And for me, that's going to make it more interesting if that in fact happens, because that introduces more risk. And Kubrat Pulev, he does have some pop, although his knockout ratio doesn't suggest he's a huge puncher, but he's got a very good jab. He's a good boxer. He plays the percentages, and he's never really out of a fight. He will just do enough to win rounds. But against Anthony Joshua, if Josh was coming forward looking for a knockout, that could present some opportunities for Pulev, who I think is sort of being written off by a lot of fans, and he's probably got a better shot in this fight than some people probably believe. But Joshua obviously is going to be the favourite and the favourite for a reason. But what also this June 20th date does confirm is that for another year, and this will be what, the third or fourth year in a row, Anthony Joshua will be fighting just the Anthony Joshua will be fighting just the 2 times. So June 20, and then presumably there's going to be a fight at the end of the year, potentially November or December. And there is talk that if he can get past Kubrat Pulev, and, he's got to get the job done, obviously escape that, no injuries, or, keep the belts. If he manages to do that, then there is the prospect of an undisputed fight that we've been talking about forever and a day. Who that would be against, it could potentially be Tyson Fury if he gets past Deontay Wilder. Their rematch is looking likely for July, potentially July 18th has been spoken about. But obviously if Deontay Wilder beats Tyson Fury, who knows what could happen. But if Fury wins, Joshua wins, there is talk of a massive domestic fight, but potentially it might end up going offshore. But Joshua Fury would be a massive fight for the heavyweight division. I'm sort of more leaning towards that fight, or an undisputed fight, more likely for 2021 rather than at the end of the year. And we still have to ask the question, what is going to happen with Alexander Usyk, the WBO mandatory? If is he just going to keep taking step aside? If in fact that's what's happening, it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But because Joshua likes his long training camps, 12 weeks or so, and often he does pre-camps too, I can only see the 2 fights this year. And I think a lot of us have been hoping he would fight maybe 3 times in 2020, but that doesn't look like it's going to be the case. Joshua himself had said he wanted to be a bit more active, but originally what was sort of being talked about as maybe an April fight date is now being pushed out to June. So I guess it is what it is. But Anthony Joshua confirming June 20, Kubrat Pulev confirming that as well, saying it will be at the Tottenham Stadium. We're going to have a fight, and the official announcement expected very shortly. Drop a comment, loud and often, hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.